the computer. Lovely. So do feel free to mute yourselves and let's come onto our backs. So yes, as I said before, as you come into your semi-supine position, tonight's session is... Are you okay? Tonight's session is based around this bombardment of emotive images, concepts, basically everything that's going on at the moment. So I'm going to come and sit up. If you want to come onto your backs in semi-supine position. And I don't know about you, but I have got various coping mechanisms for this concept of feeling like you're completely overwhelmed by there being too much stuff to worry about. And I read a little bit of something that came out of a John Kabat-Zinn book, Wherever You Go, There You Are, which I just thought was very eloquent in terms of how we experience things. So the incessant stream of our thoughts flowing through our minds leaves us very little respite for inner quiet. So often our thoughts are like a torrent or a coursing river, and we get caught up in these emotive images and themes, and they are very emotive at the moment, and we can't help but get caught up in that emotional turmoil. So this practice is about coming back to a place of simplicity. So give yourselves the opportunity to touch in with how you're feeling. And you might be feeling absolutely wonderful today. There may be a sense of rising energy, a bubbling joy within you. Just notice how you're feeling. Compile that weather report, as we so often do within our practice, to notice where we're at when we start in our practice. So if you've got your knees bent, I'd like you to straighten your legs and just allow for the pelvis to move on that straightening. Notice how that is in your lumbar, and then bend the knees. And notice how that changes things. Now, where is your breath today? Can you feel any movement into the torso? It might be the case that your breath, or you're holding your breath, and there isn't a lot of movement taking place. So I can feel myself bracing slightly. Maybe that's you too. Maybe there's a sense of holding back, or a lack of letting go within the body. And just notice that, without any judgment. Just noticing how we feel. So you may like to bring both hands to the belly region, to the navel center, and come into Yoni Mudra, where you bring the thumb and the forefinger together around the belly button if you've got one. Breathing into this space, into your soft belly. Breathing through the nostrils, nasal breathing here. So beginning to cultivate a sense of inhaling quite simply through the nostrils and exhaling through the nostrils. Feeling that movement coming in around the belly. As you inhale, the belly rises. As you exhale, the belly drops down towards the mat. Can you release around the shoulders here? Inhaling and exhaling. Breathing like this for 3 rounds of your own breath. Do not feel like you need to rush this in any way at all. Feeling the movement underneath the fingers. Noticing perhaps the body as it transitions into a state of relaxation. Moving into that parasympathetic nervous system. Lovely. And we're going to take hold of the left knee, using the hands to clasp here. We're going to draw the knee in towards center. And on the exhalation, just feel into the hips here. On the inhalation, allow for that knee to move away. Maybe exhaling through the mouth here. As you exhale, can you draw that knee in towards the armpits? And with the next inhalation, let's swap to the other side. Exhaling the right knee in towards the armpit. Inhaling, allowing for there to be a little bit of space there. Exhaling and drawing that knee in. And we're going to take this into a bit of a flow here. So inhaling, swapping over to the other side. And drawing it over. So it's a bit like a yogic bicycle, but the legs are moving away and along the mat. Now, if you want to work with a certain sense of strengthening, you can hover the leg away, or perhaps scoop round with the legs, removing the need for the hand. So it depends on what you want to work with. If you're seeking sensation here, if your body and your mind feels a bit deadened and disconnected from it all, maybe you feel the need to work stronger. If you're looking for a state of refuge and restoration, work with the leg resting down alongside the mat. Whatever you need here today. Draw both legs in now, bringing the big toes together, using that feedback, and scoop round in circles into the hips. Maybe noticing some rolling around the back of the pelvis as you move the knees away. And then coming back in the opposite direction. Lovely. And then as you drop the knees out to the side, let's put the feet down on the ground and come into Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, with the hands in Yoni Mudra around the navel region. Rest the elbows down here. Allow for those knees to wing out to the side. Simply breathing into soft bellies. Now, is there a whirring? Is your attention, the dopamine whirring around your body? Can you feel that inside of yourself? Or can you give yourself over to the stillness? Just notice how that is for you today. Breathing into soft belly, releasing and letting go. On your next inhalation, let's bring the knees up through the center and take the left foot out into your thread the needle, balancing the heel, flaring the toes wide, dropping the knee. Now, if you're feeling quite achy, I went for a run today and I really don't run. Just notice how this is before you draw the knees in towards the center. It may be the case that you don't need to come into this fully. Obviously, being aware of all these incremental changes being as important as anything, and it's not about some sort of final expression of an aesthetic. It's about feeling into this, rolling from side to side. Breathing into this space, and let's just touch down a moment, releasing the hands out to cactus, rolling the knees over to the right side, gazing over to the left, coming into your Jatara Praravriti. Inhaling into soft bellies, feeling that rotation as it comes in, and then rolling the knees back up through center and dropping the foot down. Bring the left foot down and come to the other side. Feeling into that external rotation, flaring the foot into a dorsiflexion to protect the knee. Maybe this is enough before you draw the knees in, clasping behind the thigh, rolling from side to side. Now, how is this hip? How does this side feel? And that's going to be dependent on the activities that you have done today. And then bring the hands away from the knees. Let's bring them into lovely cactus. Drop the legs over to the left side. Bring the gaze over to the right, coming into your Jatara Praravriti, supine rotation. Really breathing into those bellies. Exhaling. Inhaling, bringing that gaze back through center, rolling the legs up and dropping them back down. So let's tuck the knees in, briefly touching base with happy baby, sinking the knees down into the armpits, rolling from side to side. Maybe a little bit of a squiggle with the spine here. And if you want to roll over to one side, putting the foot down, please feel free to do so. I can't because the mantelpiece is in the way. But for instance, you fold and then touch down, and then you can roll and touch down with another foot, and explore how that is within the hips before bringing these into center. And we're going to rock and roll 3 times along the spine. Noticing where you can feel that movement. So I'm certainly feeling in the mid region of my back today, crossing over the shins and finding your way into all fours. Getting those hands positioned straight underneath the elbows, spreading through the fingers nice and wide. Pressing down through the fingers here. Let's drop down straight into a cat, allowing for the spine to arch and the crown of the head drops down. Inhaling through neutral, exhaling heart space, move forwards, gazing at the front of the mat. Inhaling neutral, exhale, coming into a scared cat. Inhale, coming through that midpoint. We're going to spiral, so you may want to bring the hands forwards to spiral the hips down and through. Feeling again into the outer reaches of the hips. What happens if you drop the pelvis down and through? Feeling into the deep hip flexors, scooping round. Maybe you come into an extension before coming back in the opposite direction. Breathing into these spirals here. Lovely. And dropping down. And you'll notice as you drop down that perhaps this feels like an upward facing dog. Maybe you find yourself there. Maybe not. Let's bring ourselves back into Balasana, stretching through the hands and creep them over to the left side, bringing the right hand on top of the left. Breathing down along the side seam of the body. Inhaling into this space. Creeping the hands over to the other side. So the left hand comes over to the right. Reaching along that side seam. And bringing yourself forwards. We're now going to take a linear route forwards as we drop the hips. So we're going to be working into a little bit of pigeon here. So just be mindful. If you're super flexible in this region, you'll want to be containing yourselves rather than pushing into an edge. Creeping back into your Balasana, maybe the forehead drops down and coming into an extension. And then as we bring ourselves back, we're going to lift the leg and transition into pigeon. So the right leg is coming forwards to the front of the mat. Now, if you're not the biggest fan of pigeon, you may want to use your bolster or rolled up blanket to pop it underneath the pelvis. The front leg, the angle here can be very much dependent on the external rotation of your hips. So some hypermobile folks may find that they want to bring the shin out to the front of the mat, and that's fine. You don't need to bring the foot into a dorsiflexion. Just allow for that to settle as you come into your pigeon. I'm just going to move the bolster, but the bolster is an option. Coming down onto the elbows, rocking from side to side, easing into the hips here. What do you notice? What do you recognize? What's occurring? Has anything transitioned up into the jaw? How are your jaws today? Do you need to relax and release the TMJ? And let's prop ourselves up onto our hands to come into more of a king pigeon pose. But from this space, we're pressing down through the fingers and drawing the leg back into kneeling. We're going to come to the other side, drawing the left knee in towards the front of the mat, sinking down into your pigeon. Again, just exploring where the shin needs to be. Floppy feet here, and come into your forward fold action. Using a bolster underneath the hips or a rolled up blanket, make this comfortable for yourselves. Inhaling, rocking from side to side, exhaling. Exhaling into the hip here to release. Inhaling, but not pushing too deep. You do not need to have your pelvis dropping down to the floor here. breathing, and then bringing the hands down by the sides of the knees and popping yourselves back into your all fours position. Now we're going to bring ourselves into a little balasana, coming into child reading pose. So you can see what I'm doing here by bringing my hands into a forearm stance, and then I can pop my hands onto the side of my face. You want to feel like you're comfortable to bring your thumbs to the inner ear, and you should feel like it's okay to bring the fingers to the forehead. Okay, so you're dropping your head. This is a very like worried pose, dropping your head into your fingers. So it feels like a contemporary Rodin sculpture, like you're bringing the thumbs into the inner ear. We're going to come into humming bee breath, Brahmari breath, and we're going to do 5 rounds of this. And hopefully you've practiced this with me before, but we're inhaling through the nostrils.
Catherine, can I just ask you, what are you doing at the back there? I can't work. Oh yeah, okay. All right, thank you. Sorry, I missed that.
Absolutely fine. I can do it side on.
No, I missed you when you moved, and I thought, oh, I'm not sure where how my legs are meant to be. I couldn't see your legs.
Stuff like a pigeon or something. No, all good. So feel like you've got your legs in balasana, like a kneeling. And I think it's nice to have the knees together, but obviously if you're more comfortable with a wide leg child's pose, that's also fine. But you want to find that your thumb can come into the inner ear and the fingers can express themselves up around the cranium. So within Brahmari breath, it's the exhalation that's a humming bee sound. It's a vibration inside the skull. So we're going to do 5 of those with your own pace. So if you've got a very, say you were a free diver, you would have an amazing capacity to exhale for a very long time. It's going to vary from person to person. When you've finished, bring the palms of the hands to face up towards the ceiling so I can watch you guys. So we're going to inhale, closing the ear, and hum, closing the eyes and the ears. Inhaling through the nostrils. Inhaling. Inhaling. Inhaling for the last one. When you've finished, bringing the palms of the hands to face up towards the ceiling. Tuck the toes under. We're coming into this position. Tucking the toes under. We've still got the palms of the hands facing up towards the ceiling. Just notice how that feels in the back of the shoulders, the back of the shoulder blades region, around the back of the heart space. Breathing into the back of the lungs here. Lovely. And then with the toes tucked under, we're going to lift ourselves up. So you may want to flare the little toe out here to make sure that they're all spread freely. And if it's very, very strong coming up into this position, the broken toe Vajrasana position, bring the hands down. Otherwise, we're going to bring the hands into Lotus Mudra, situated around the heart space. So you've got the fingers flared, a bit like an open fire. So your lotus mudra. And with the breath here, we're going to inhale, exhale, flipping the backs of the hands together, directing the fingers away from the heart space, and then spiraling the fingers to come back into their lotus mudra position at the heart space. So don't worry if you feel like you're freestyling this. Bring the hands up. The fingers then point down, moving away from the heart space. The back of the hands come together, and then you spiral the base of the hands back down and through. Breathing, and you will feel the toes and that sensation coming about. See if you can focus on the breath and the hands. One more. Inhaling backs of the hands. Moving the fingers away, spiraling the hands back down and through into your broken toe Vajrasana with the lotus mudra. Lovely. We're going to take the hands out to the side and spiral them as though we're coming into Gomukhasana without the strap here. How does it feel to move the arms? A bit like this almost reminds me of one of these amazing goddesses that you find in the British Museum with the many, many hands that come out to the side. I'm not sure if that's Kali or one of the other ones. The goddess of destruction. Something to consider in the current climate. And then this time we're bringing the hands down alongside the feet. The toes are going to feel quite interesting now. We're going to take the weight up into the legs, coming into your downward dog. Allow for the head to hang freely. Open the legs wide and relax the shoulders. So we're spreading through the fingers fairly wide here. We're going to come into something, if you're feeling strong, called elephant. Okay, so this is a asana that I came across in the Hatha Yoga project that SOAS is involved in, so in London, and it came from a text recently discovered. So what we're going to do is think about the nose, drawing a line as we bend the elbows and scoop ourselves forwards to create some circles. So we're imagining that the nose is like a trunk, and you bend the elbows as though you're coming into chaturanga. It's a very strong position, bending the elbows, scooping, and come back in the opposite direction. Using that nose as though it is your trunk. One more time. And then come back to your downward dog. Make yourselves comfortable. We're going to lift up the right arm, making a 3-point contact with the ground. Bring that down. Lift up the left arm. Bring that down. We're going to do opposing limbs now. We're going to explore lifting the left leg and the right arm. Can you do that? And then lift the left arm and the right leg. Can you explore how that feels? It feels uncomfortable, but can you attempt something that's uncomfortable with a sense of support? It's tricky. Coming to the other side, see if you can do this, dropping the head. Notice what response comes in through the body, and drop the limbs down. You can come into child's pose if you wish, to give yourself a little break before coming back up again. A little bit of exploration there. Bring the forehead down and then tuck yourself back up into your downward dog. This time, position the left foot in towards the middle. Explore your 3-legged dog. We're going to draw the knee in towards nose and inhale the leg up and out. Exhale, crossing over the body, coming to the opposing elbow. Inhale, exhale, knee to elbow. Hold, and then draw the foot back through your 3-legged dog. Drop the leg down, come to the other side. 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose or thereabouts. Inhale, exhale, crossing over the body here, comes to the outer elbow. Inhale, same side this time. Hold for a moment and bring the leg back down and through. This time we're going to bring the foot forwards to frame in between the hands. So this may be your least favorite side. Drop the knee, come into your low lunge. You've got the ankle directly underneath the knee, sinking down through the hips. Release here, lift up through the arms. Explore opening the arms out to the side into an open twist. Inhaling the arms up towards the ceiling and coming into your opposing twist. Breathing here. Inhaling into your low lunge. Bring the hands down to frame the foot. Tuck the toes under. Downward dog. Coming to the other side, this time lifting up through the right leg. Drawing the knee in towards center. Framing the foot. Dropping the knee. Low lunge. Opening up into your crescent moon. Open. Rotation. Close. Rotation. Inhaling the arms up. Bringing them to the front of the mat. Tucking the toes under so the knee lifts. And draw yourself into Uttanasana. Forward fold. Dropping the head, dangling the head here. Allow for the body to relax and settle. Bend the knees. And we're going to scoop ourselves up through ragdoll. Just allow for the hands to weigh you down, bending the knees. And the last thing to come up is going to be your heavy, heavy heads. Coming into your Tadasana. Noticing how grounded you feel. Where's your energy right now? Is it down through the feet and the legs? Is it up in the head? Is it in the heart space? We're going to come into some Surya Namaskar, some sun salutations, and we're going to come into 3 on each side, so 6. I will stage them so you can come into one that works for you. We're going to inhale the arms up overhead. We're going to exhale, bending the knees, forward fold, hands through heart center, nice and soft. Inhale, step back with the right leg. The other leg comes to meet chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin into an upward facing dog. Tuck the toes under, exhale back into your downward dog. We're going to breathe in the downward dog for about 5 breaths. Adjust the hands if you're sliding. You may want to open the fingers up, pressing down into the mat. Inhaling in soft bellies. Exhale, drop the crown of the head. Inhale, think about the length between the tailbone and the crown of the head. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On your next inhale, lift up through the right leg. Draw the knee in. Foot comes in between the hands. The other leg comes to meet. Uttanasana, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhaling, lifting up towards the ceiling. Exhale, hands come through heart center. Don't worry if your breath is doing something slightly different. Inhale, lifting up through the arms. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale, left foot comes back, right foot comes to meet, chaturanga down, or knees, chest, chin, scooping forwards into cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. Inhaling, lifting up onto the toes. Exhale, heels come down. Inhale, release the head. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale, shake out the head. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On the next inhalation, lift up through the left leg into 3-legged dog. Drawing that foot forwards through to the front. The other foot comes to follow. Uttanasana. Bend the knees. Inhale, lifting up through the arms. And the hands come through the heart center, through the midline. And we give ourselves a round of the breath here. Allow for it all to trickle down through the body. Inhaling, lifting up through the arms, follow with the gaze. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, scoop the right leg back, the left comes to meet. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga through into upward facing dog. Keep the shoulders away from the ears as you tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. Inhaling into soft bellies. Exhale, release the head and the neck. Inhale, bend the knees slightly to lengthen the spine. Exhale, release the heels down towards the ground. Inhale, look under each armpit. Exhale, release. Inhale, lifting up through the right leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, draw that left foot to come to meet Uttanasana. Inhale, bend the knees, lifting up through the side seams of the body. Exhale, the hands come down through the heart center, through that midline. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend the knees, Uttanasana. Inhale, step back. Exhale into your spinal extension. Inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, press down through the fingers, lifting up through the palms. Exhale, feel the support as you release around the shoulders. Inhale, find the crown of your head. Exhale, release. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, draw heels down. Inhale, looking under each armpit. Exhale. Inhale, lifting up through the left side. Exhale, drawing the foot through the frame at the front. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up through the legs. Nice and strong. Exhale, the hands come down through the midline. One round of the breath here. You can choose to hold the Tadasana or come into more Surya Namaskar on both sides. Inhale, lifting the drishti and gaze up through the fingers. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step back through the right leg. Left comes to meet, chaturanga through. Upward facing dog or cobra. Tuck the toes under, exhale into your downward dog. Inhaling and exhaling, making any adjustments that you need. Inhale, you might want to change the position of the hands, spreading the fingers wide. Exhale, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing around the neck. Inhale into soft bellies. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lifting up through the right leg. Exhale, bring the foot to the front of the mat, meeting with the other foot, Uttanasana. Inhaling, bending those knees, lifting up through the side seam of the body. Reaching the gaze up through those hands. Exhale, the hands come to heart center. Coming over to the left side now. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bring the left leg back. The right comes to meet. Knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga into upward facing dog. Tuck the toes under. Downward facing dog. Make any adjustments that you need to. Maybe you want to come into mongrel this time. Maybe you want to widen the stance. Choose what works for you. Explore this movement. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, dropping the head. Exhaling. Inhaling. On the next inhalation, after that exhalation, lift up through the left leg, three-legged dog. Draw that knee in. Looking forwards, meet with the right, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, lift and reach up towards the ceiling. Find that long line and then bring the hands back down to the heart center. Finding your feet, you might want to take your socks off if you haven't taken them off already. Definitely time. Coming into your Tadasana, we're going to think about the weight into the thighs. So as we come into our chair pose, spread those toes nice and wide as you lift them up off the ground. So the little toe comes off the ground as well. Lovely. We're going to come into your chair pose, sinking down with the hands at the heart's space here. So just be mindful of the alignment with the pelvis and the lumbar. Can you sink down even more? Maybe you can sink down to more of an extreme than you ever thought you could, with a sense of the breath and stability here, the sense of ease, and then straighten up out of that. We're going to come into fire log now. So similar angle taking place, but this time we've got an external rotation. You're bringing the foot to rest, or rather the ankle on the knee, coming into a forward fold. Only take the hip as far as it will happily go. Now, as you touch down, if you come into this position, you may be able to bring the hands out to rest. Maybe bringing the fingers into a Hasta Mudra, Gana Mudra, touching the little, what's this? This is a forefinger and the thumb together. Sinking down, this may feel quite strong on that thigh. Breathing, exhaling. Can you hear the sound of the breath audibly, internally? And then bring the hands through the heart center and lift up and out. Coming back into Tadasana. And then coming to the other side. Left leg coming out, bending the knee. Flaring your feet, folding down into this space, fire log pose. And if you're in that position where the arms are resting, bringing them out so the palms face forward and the forefinger and the thumb come together. Utilizing the breath to find stability. Breathing in. And bring the hands through the heart center. Bringing that foot back down. We're going to make our way back into Utkatasana, chair pose. How low can you go without it impinging on the quality of your breath? One more time. Breathing through the nostrils. Really feeling the edge of the hands meet at the sternum of the breastbone. You're in this position, see if you can rock up onto your toes, and then sink yourself down. So your sitting bones now are going to come down to the floor. Lovely. We're going to make our way into Ardha Matsyendrasana after we come into Baddha Konasana and allow for the knees to drop out. Bring the tops of the hands down into the mat, if they make it to the mat, or it can be on the inside of the legs, into your forward fold. Release any effort. Feeling into the sitting bones, the inner groin. Breathing, releasing the shoulders. And then fold yourself up. So we're going to straighten the left leg and fold the right leg over. Can you get 4 corners of your feet to ground here? If not, bring the foot in front of the hip point. So we're going to come into Ardha Matsyendrasana with a straightened leg. Flare the feet up towards the ceiling. We're going to inhale, sitting bones grounded. Exhale, rotate through the spine. Inhale, maybe bringing the hand to the outside of the knee, maybe using the elbow to pivot. Exhale. Inhale, finding that space. Exhale to release. Inhale into soft bellies. Exhale. Inhale through the midline, coming into an open twist. What's the foot doing? Making sure it's grounded, maybe wrapping or pivoting the elbow to the inside of the knee, inhaling to create space. Notice if the foot is rolling, get the foot down. Spiral up through the toes. Exhaling. Inhale through the midline. Draw that foot into the inside seam of the leg, Janusarasana, forward fold, bringing the sternum over the thigh. So it may be the case the hands come down to alongside the shin or the ankles, wherever really. Bringing the palms to face up towards the ceiling in this receptive pose. Maybe on the exhalation, you can sink down a little bit deeper. Breathing into soft bellies. Releasing. Inhaling, bringing your torso up. We're going to straighten that right leg out to the side now, bringing the right foot over the thigh or in front. Okay, so wherever you can find the four corners of the feet grounded. Inhaling from sitting bones, exhale to rotate. Inhaling and exhaling to find that space, if indeed there is any present. Inhaling into soft bellies. Exhaling here. Inhale through the midline. Exhale to come into your open twist this time. Obviously, the position of the arm is completely dependent on where you're at within this rotation. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhale, coming through the midline now. We're going to flip that foot to meet the inner groin, Janusarasana. Exhale, forward fold. Maybe the hands come down to the shins or the ankles. Maybe you can flip the palms of the hands towards the ceiling in this receptive pose. A sense of endurance and acceptance wherever you are at within this shape, externally and internally. Breathing here. And if you want to sink your head down, feel free to do so. Lovely. Inhaling. Come upright. And then get hold of your straps. So if you need to cross your legs to move to get the straps, feel free to do so. We're going to come into Gomukhasana. So with our cow face pose, you have the option of coming into the legs position with the knees stacked. This is quite strong on the hips. If you want to get some padding, you can pop the padding underneath the sit bones. If this is not a happy place for you today, immediately it's too much, come into kneeling, or you can come into similar Ardha Matsyendrasana. So using any props that you need, we have the right leg over the top here. Get hold of your straps and release that arm up towards the ceiling, gathering the hand on the lower side to meet the hand on the upper arm. Gazing down at the front of the mat, tucking the chin in slightly, coming into your cow face pose, Gomukhasana. So you may find that your hands are finding one another, maybe not. Just notice where they are in space. Use that proprioception. And don't feel like you need to come into the most extreme position here. There is a sense of endurance taking place within Gomukhasana. But when we are in safety and comfort, perhaps we can appreciate that for what it is. Because we could easily have to endure much more than we do. Breathing here. Releasing the arms out to the sides here, being cautious as we spiral the legs out into the opposing position. So finding your Gomukhasana legs, or you're in kneeling. Either is fine. Stacking the knees. Notice where your body budget is today. So if your body budget is you need to do as little as possible to get through the next few hours, come into an easier, more comfortable position. So we're bringing the left arm over the head. The right arm comes to meet, creating this figure of 8 position. Tucking the chin in slightly here. Finding your sitting bones. Where is your awareness right now? Does it come up into the forehead region? When we find ourselves in a bind, how much comfort can we cultivate when things become difficult? I think Gomakasana is a good example of putting yourself in a position that can be fairly difficult. Can you find some enjoyment here? Before bring the hands out to the sides and removing the legs. So we're going to come into alternate nostril breathing. We don't have that long. So find yourself in an easy cross-legged position, or you can kneel over your bolster. So whatever works, or you could just pop yourself on the bolster to lift up the hips. So hopefully you're clear through both nostrils. I'm going to use the right hand in Deer Mudra, utilizing the thumb and the ring finger. So get yourselves comfortable. Let's try closing the right nostril first of all to inhale through the left and exhale through the left. So hopefully that nostril is clear. If it's not, maybe get hold of a tissue. And we're going to swap over so the ring finger comes to close the left. How's the right nostril? Maybe not feeling quite as free, or maybe it feels freer. And to start the practice, we're going to close the right, inhaling through the left, exhaling, inhaling through the left. Swap your digits, exhale through the right, inhale through the right, swap the digits, exhale through the left. Cultivating that retention in between, inhaling, swap digits, exhale, inhale, swap, exhale, inhale, swap, exhale, inhale, maybe close the eyes, swap, exhale, inhale, swapping and exhaling. Feel free to go into your own pace here. Inhaling, exhale, inhale, swap, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, down to belly, swap, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, swapping and exhaling. And I'll give you the opportunity to come into 10 rounds of that breath on your own time with your own breath. Inhaling and exhaling through the opposite nostril. When you do come to the end of your 10, please do exhale through the left nostril, as that's connected to the moon, and that is helpful if you're moving into a state of relaxation, whereas the right nostril is connected to the sun and it's a more energizing nostril. So finishing on the left, counting within your own space internally. And if you have come out of your alternate nostril breathing, you can make your way down onto your back in a semi-supine position with your strap. So you'll want your strap to hand. When you do finish the pranayama practice, just give yourself an opportunity to notice where you're at. To rush into the next thing. And we'll make our way down onto our backs. So we're coming into semi-supine. Like so. You want to get hold of your right leg and put that strap over your foot, or under your foot rather. Make sure the buckle is not underneath the foot and not going to be behind the head as we bring the strap behind the head. And then release into this neck release, exploring that position, using the hands if you need to find that position of poise. A bit like you're balancing yourself in pose of tranquility. Find that position. And if you can find that position, can you release the hands alongside the body? And maybe you can explore straightening the leg, but you want to feel like it's not going to slip. If you get that slippage sense, it's probably the worst feeling that you can get up through the neck. A sort of whiplash. So you really don't want to move into that. You want to feel like you can release, that you can trust that you're in safety, as opposed to moving into a fear-led state. Breathing into this side, finding a sense of contentment, santosha within. Maybe closing the eyes. And then to come out of this position, bring the foot in with the knee, release the head firstly. Bring the head to the back onto the mat and then come over to the other side. Bring that strap to the base of the foot. Bring that around the back of the head and find that position. And you may find the more you do this, the easier it is to just find the right position within the back of the head and release without thinking about it. Exploring whether straightening the knee is something you want to work with, or bending the knee, or indeed pushing with the foot and changing the angle of the neck. There are so many variations in terms of angles. It's like a pulley action. Find what works for you. And if you find that the pelvis is going squiffy for whatever reason, see if you can adjust that to make this feel vaguely square around the hip space. And then to release, we're going to release the head and the foot and bring the strap to your side. Bring the knees in towards the midline. Now we have an option to touch base with pose of tranquility. So if you felt okay on the rolling and you're not experiencing migraines or glaucoma, any eye issues, we can roll the legs over and come into pose of tranquility, which is that lovely balancing position with the pelvis and the feet. And I recommend this one after using the strap neck release, because you've got a similar sense of balance taking place. I'm just going to roll up out of this early so I can bring myself upright. And you're just finding that area of balance in the same way that you did when you had the strap around the back of the head, wrapped around the foot. And just for a moment, we're going to unravel the spine as we come out of pose of tranquility, rolling yourself out, dropping the feet, bring the hands down by the side, windscreen the knees from side to side, and bring yourself into Shavasana, into your corpse pose, maybe using some padding underneath the head, maybe using a bolster underneath the knees, coming into a symmetrical space. Maybe you just come straight out into your Shavasana with no props, releasing the limbs out to the side, releasing the arms out to the sides, releasing the back of the head. And if you need to adjust the position of the chin, you can bring hands to the base of the neck, stroking up past the occipital ridge, gathering the head, tilting the chin inwards, and opening up around the occipital ridge. Make yourselves comfortable. I'm going to come up to sit to just talk you through, to consolidate the practice. Give yourself a moment to release anything that does not serve you. And I'm going to read a quote, and you feel free to allow my words to just roll over you. By being with yourself, by watching yourself in your daily life with alert interest, with the intention to understand rather than to judge, in full acceptance of whatever may emerge, because it is there, you encourage the deep to come to the surface and enrich your life and consciousness with its captive energies. This is the great work of awareness. It removes obstacles and releases energies by understanding the nature of life and mind. Intelligence is the door to freedom, and alert attention is the mother of intelligence. So to be in full acceptance of whatever may emerge. You can encourage the deep to come to the surface and enrich your life and consciousness with its captive energies. So by cultivating greater awareness, moving away from overwhelm and distraction, we're actually simply sitting with that sense of overwhelm that can help you remove obstacles and actually release energy. Releasing, letting go down into the ground beneath you. If you found that your attentional awareness has drifted elsewhere, outside of the body, into the space around the body and beyond, bring the attention back into the extremities, the fingers and the toes. And focusing on the inhalation at the end of the following sound. No rush at all. Coming to roll over into a fetal position. And at the end of the following sound, bring yourself into an upright position that feels comfortable for you, with the eyes closed. Maybe bringing glasses to the side. And bringing your hands into that heart space, rubbing the palms together. Create some heat, and then pop the palms onto the eye sockets, bathing the eyes. Before bring the hands in through the midline, bring the thumbs down to the sternum, bowing in acknowledgement of one another in the space in between. Namaste. Feel free to unmute yourselves. I'm just going to